Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening for our eventing webinar Wednesday. We'll be joined by Patrick Campbell and Annabelle Stanley to deliver this presentation on eventing, starting from the basics on what is eventing and then going further into some more advanced information. On today's webinar, you'll see that you have a chat function in which you can communicate with us, and we'd love to hear any of your questions. So this is all moderated, so you might not see everything come through, but we will be able to control that and send the flow of questions through to either Patrick, Annabelle, or to the public chat. If you do have a question, please utilise the question mark and it will filter it out separately for us. That way it'd be easier for us to find, display and read and communicate with you on that one. If you do have any technical issues this evening with any of the playback or communications, please don't worry. You will receive a recording of this session automatically once the session is over via email. It'll also be available on the YouTube channel within the next 24 to 48 hours and sent through the next newsletter at the end of April. So you'll have access to it then as well. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Patrick and Annabelle. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zoe. Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Patrick Campbell, the chairman of Pony Club Eventing, and welcome to this webinar on all things about Pony Club Eventing. It's quite a generalized presentation as we're covering a huge amount of information, but please do lodge your questions on anything you want more detailed information on at the end and or more technical stuff, and we'll come back to that later. So what is Pony Club Eventing? Well, in part one, we're going to discuss that, why to go eventing, what's on offer from pony clubs, and the key roles in eventing. Firstly, though, we'll start with the governance of eventing. And the Pony Club Eventing is governed by the Pony Club Eventing Committee. For the most part, we follow the rules of eventing set down by our governing body, British Eventing. However, some of these rules are adapted to suit both the age of our members and reflect that we are also a training organisation as well as a competitive one. With myself as chairman, the committee is composed of various people with skills and experience in all things in eventing matters. We have a British eventing official, Sarah Verney, who advises us on rules and course design and safety. We also have representatives who have years of experience within Pony Club Eventing and the various rules. We have a coach and a youth representative on the committee, and that gives us a perspective from the members to keep us in touch with what's going on the ground. Stewards and event organisers as well also form part of the committee, as well as two Pony Club area representatives who represent the area, the branches and the members on the committee. And then if a rule cannot be found in our rule book, we then resort to the governing body's rule, i.e. British Eventing's rules for rules that we don't cover. Bringing this all together is our head office sports officer, and that's Annabelle Stanley. Annabelle is totally responsible for the administration of eventing within the Pony Club. And if you should need to contact her, you can see her email address on the screen, eventing@pcuk.org. So that's the governance of Pony Club Eventing. We now move on to what is eventing. So eventing is the ultimate test for a horse and rider combination. Like a triathlon, it features three distinct disciplines. A one-day event always show jumping and cross country with an absolute minimum of at least 30 minutes between each phase. Whilst dressage is always the first discipline in the order of show jumping and cross country may change in events running over more than one day. The dressage phase, the first phase, focuses on the precision and harmony of the horse and rider. During the test, riders showcase their horse's obedience, suppleness, and athleticism. And a approved judge marks each individual movement on the harmony, accuracy, and quality, providing scores that contribute to the overall eventing performance. Unlike in pure dressage, where the highest score is the winner, in eventing, the marks are converted into penalty points. So the lower the penalty points, the better placed you are. For area competitions, dressage judges are selected from a board approved by British Dressage so that they have the appropriate knowledge and experience to judge the required tests at the required levels. We then move on to the show jumping phase. This, of course, is over the coloured fences with poles that can be knocked down, so require careful and accurate riding. If you go too fast, the horse may jump flat, knocking them down. If you go too slow, then the horse may stop or have penalties added, as the course must be completed within an optimum time. There is 1 penalty point added for every second over the optimum time. If any penalties are obtained, these are then added to the rider's dressage scores to give the updated scoring. Cross country, very much the favourite phase of Pony Club eventers, and this phase is designed to test the combination skill, fitness and courage over a variety of fixed fences and undulating ground. It should also demonstrate the rider's knowledge of pace so that they complete the course within the optimum time allowed. Penalties also can be picked up for both going too fast or too slow. Unlike the show jumping phase, if penalties are incurred during this phase, they are added to the rider's score to give their final mark, with the competitor with the lowest amount of penalties becoming the winner of the competition. So what are the benefits of eventing then? Well, the benefits of eventing are to give members the best possible grounding in all 3 disciplines to produce the ultimate equestrian. From the control and obedience of the dressage phase, the precision and carefulness of the show jumping, to the bold and braveness of the cross country. Badges in eventing can be achieved within both branches and centres and range from a mini one for our younger members to a more detailed understanding required to obtain the eventing badge. Whilst there are not too many team events at branch level competitions anymore, at eventing area qualifiers, to compete in the team competition is a huge thrill and highly exciting as positions change as results are posted. Whilst getting to the championships is a great achievement as an individual, to do so with a team gives the member a tremendous experience, particularly as it is generally always results in an overnight stay to get the real thrill of competing with friends at a big event. Teams generally consist of 4 members, with the best 3 scores being counted for the final result. Eventing is a very friendly sport, possibly because it takes place over many hours, rather than just being a simple 1 dressage test or 1 round of show jumping, as in the other pure disciplines of dressage and show jumping. There therefore becomes the thrill or fear of a testing cross-country course that creates a huge camaraderie amongst members. And as you go up through the heights over the years, you invariably get to see the same people many times. And it is here where friendships are both made within branches and areas, and sometimes nationally. So what does the Pony Club offer in eventing? Well, the Pony Club offers 5 levels of eventing at area and national levels, these being the PC 70, 80, 90, 100 and 110. These figures all refer to the height of the fences, and except for the PC 70, there are no age restrictions. Lower levels of eventing are often offered at branch level to give members their first taste of the sport. These can go up to 60 centimetres and often include a lead rein class, which invariably is won by the fittest and fastest parent. Within area competitions, the PC 70 and 80 classes qualify for what is called a regional championships. The PC 70 has a section for those 13 and under on the 1st of January of the current year, and a section called the 70 plus. This class caters for those aged 14 and over. The 70 plus class is only for individuals, whereas the 70 and 80 classes both run a team and an individual competition for qualification. At area qualifiers, the PC 90 and 100 classes run both team and individual qualifying sections. All team members can also qualify as an individual if they are not lucky enough to do so within their team. This basically gives team members 2 bites of the qualification cherry. These 2 classes qualify for the Pony Club Championships, held every year in August at Off Churchbury in Warwickshire. 4 years ago, a new class was introduced known as the Chairman's Cup. This class runs over a 105 centimetre cross-country course with the show jumping at 110 and uses the open PC 110 dressage test. It is unique to the championships and a very standalone event compared to the other classes, in that riders must perform a trot-up prior to the competition starting to prove their horse is fit and sound to compete. And different to other classes, although the dressage still comes first, it is then followed by the cross-country on the same day or the day after, because we run 2 days of dressage. So running over the 2 days after the dressage and the cross country, on the final day, the riders do the show jumping phase and compete in reverse order of their finishing position after dressage and cross country. This produces a huge of the final and is both nail-biting and exciting to watch. The PC 110 competition was previously known as the Open class and is very much the ultimate accolade in pony club eventing and the highest level you can go. For the last few years, it has been hosted at the Wellington International Horse Trials, run over an FEI star track featuring fences from the 2-star and 3-star classes. Pony Club members compete alongside both national and international stars of eventing to give a truly thrilling experience. This year, the PC 110 Championships will be held within the British Eventing's Festival of Youth competition at Bishop Burton, which will see a bringing together of all of the eventing's best young riders from all over the country, from both Pony Club and British Eventing. Alongside this at Bishop Burton, there is also going to be a 100 team competition made up of Pony Club and British Eventing members, for which details will be released shortly. Last year, for the first time ever, the Pony Club Eventing had its first Nations Cup competition. This was hosted by the Irish Pony Club and was held at the Ballindinesque International in Ireland and featured teams at 1-star and 2-star levels, i.e. 100 and 110 as the Pony Club equivalent. There were teams from England, Wales, Northern Ireland and Ireland competing in what was truly a thrilling competition and an experience not to be forgotten by our members who went. We are in the planning stages of a Nations Cup this year, hopefully in the UK, and again, details will be shortly released once this is finalised. So we've looked at what's available for the members, but let's not forget, it also takes a huge amount of organisation and manpower to host a one-day event, particularly for an area qualifier. And as we move on to the next slide, we see the requirements. We need team managers, chief stewards, crossing stewards, fence judges, technical advisors, arena steward, those doing the bun run, catering, buggy drivers. The list goes on and on and on. And we'll come on to this in further detail later on to show how you can get involved in volunteering within Pony Club Eventing. So that gives you a brief overview of what the Pony Club can offer its members on eventing, from the classes to the competitions. So we now move on to the next section, and this is regarding rules, both existing ones and specific to eventing ones, and also the new amended rules for 2026. Now, within eventing, this publication becomes your Bible, the Pony Club Eventing Rulebook for 2026. It features all the rules for all the disciplines, plus very much concentrating on the area qualifiers, the eligibility requirements, and the numbers to qualify, as well as how the competition should run. But we'll start off with the eventing specific rules. And this will cover those that differ slightly from British Eventing and might be slightly different also from the rules of pure dressage and pure show jumping. And within these rules, there are some anomalies. These may have evolved over many years or be specific to the Pony Club because of the age of our members competing. So in PC 70 and 80, we allow the riders to carry a whip in their dressage tests. This differs from British Eventing, who do not permit it at any level. The reason for this being that the age of our riders, it's not uncommon for us to have 7 or 8 year olds participating in the PC 70 qualifiers, some of whose legs barely reach the end of the saddle, and which would make the use of spurs impossible. So the eventing committee took the decision to still allow a schooling whip to be carried for the 70 and 80 classes. We also do not allow riders in PC 70 and 80 classes to wear a stopwatch. Again, as a training organisation, we feel it is better that because of the age of some of these riders, it is better for them to be concentrating on their cross-country round and the next fence rather than being preoccupied with the time on their watch. It also enables our young riders to learn about pace and to start to judge it on what is required for the timing. In PC 70, the Pony Club also does not award penalties for going too slow, as it is felt riders should gain experience and come home in a manner comfortable to them. However, there are penalties given for going too fast at all levels, and again, this is to prevent dangerous riding at an early level. At PC70 and PC80 area qualifiers, members may have their dressage tests commanded for them. Again, this is due to the age of the members we are catering for in these classes. At the regional championships, the 70s may still have commanders, but I'm afraid the 80s must fly solo and know their tests from memory. In cross-country, unlike show jumping, if you have a run-out or a stop at a combination fence, whether it be 2 or 3 part, you do not have to take the full fence again, but can just come in at the part you stopped at. And again, you will not be penalised for this. You can also take the whole combination again, particularly if it gives you a better line into the second element if you stopped at that one. Likewise, if you turn a circle or cross your tracks when you are nowhere near a cross-country fence or presenting at a cross-country fence, there is no penalty, unlike show jumping, that penalises this anywhere within your round. Remember, up to PC 100 level, you are not eliminated until your 4th refusal on the course, a cumulative one. However, if you have 3 refusals at the same fence, then that is elimination. With PC 110, because most of these run at BE courses for the area qualifiers and also at championships, then it is under BE rules of the 3 stops solely. At PC 100 level, you're also able to qualify for the championships at your area competition, even if you fall out of the direct qualifying places. If you achieve certain criteria, this includes a clear round cross country with no jumping penalties, then you can automatically qualify. For the Chairman's Cup and the PC 110 championships, members can also qualify via BE or PC route or even Riding Club route, rather than just having the opportunity at an area competition to qualify. And if we move on to the rules that are new for 2026 from 2025, not many this year, but there is one major one in the PC 80 class. Whilst the eventing committee was keen not to allow the use of stopwatches still in the PC 80s, they wanted to create a fairer way of penalising those going too fast or slow. Previously, the member that went 14 seconds too slow would receive 5.6 penalties, 0.4 penalties per second over the optimum time. The member that went 14 seconds too fast would receive no penalties, as time penalties do not start until you are in excess of 15 seconds under the optimum time. With no stopwatches, we felt this was unfair to the competitors going a second or so slower. So we've now given a 15-second window either side of the optimum time before time penalties start accruing. It is felt this is a fairer system to reward those members on both sides of the optimum time and without the use of stopwatches. We're following a lead also a little bit from British Dressage and Pony Club Dressage in allowing for the first time the discrete use of the voice in the dressage tests, a pilot for this year at 70s and 80s. This is for competitions for it to be used as a supportive aid. The eventing committee felt this was probably the way things will go in the future, and we will monitor it this year. Another new rule to come in is that there are many older horses and ponies in Pony Club eventing that are perhaps not quite the force they were of old and cannot compete at the level they once reached. Prior to this year, that was the end of the combination's journey, as they were never allowed to step down a level unless it was with a change of rider. We will now, however, allow any combination from 90 centimetres and above that has not competed at that level in the current or previous year to go down a level and can continue competing on their Pony Club journey. Also, we have reduced the MERS requirements for both the Chairman's Cup and PC 110 classes from 4 MERS to 2, with 1 in the current years. Details of MERS can be found in the rulebook, and we'll also discuss it in further detail later in this presentation. So they are the rules that have changed for 2026 and some of the odd rules that affect Pony Club eventing. So we now move on to the route to the championships. How do I qualify, and tips once I have qualified, or tips to gain qualifications. So how do we qualify? Well, the PC 70 and 80 classes qualify for one of 5 regional championships situated around the country. They are mainly held on the August bank holiday weekend, except for in Scotland, which go earlier as the schools go back to school before then. Members who perform well at their area qualifier often qualify for these championships, as the top 6 teams and the top 16 individuals gain qualification if they complete the competition. This is very encouraging for members and often gives them their first taste of a big event and valuable experience for the future. To compete at your area qualifier, members must meet certain criteria. For example, a combination who has completed at their PC80 eventing qualifier in 2025 could not then go and do the 2026 qualifier at PC70. There is also no facility in eventing for members to compete in 2 classes as they can in dressage and show jumping. This is generally because in eventing, a number of areas host all their competitions on the same day, and we cannot expect a horse to do more than 1 class a day. I know some areas do 70 and 80s separate and their 90s and above on 2 separate occasions, but this is not the general ruling for the whole country, and we need a rule that fits every area. So that is why it's not allowed to complete adjacent classes within eventing. At PC90 and PC100, members qualify for the Pony Club Championships at Offchurchbury in August in these classes. The 90 centimetres, the PC90 class, remains one of the toughest classes to qualify in. So many members competing in it for so few places at the championships. Qualifications are offered in a ratio according to the number of starters in the class. For example, the winner and runner-up will automatically qualify in a section, but if a section has a certain amount of 8 or more in it, say, then the 3rd place member will qualify, and so forth. The more the members, the greater the number of individual qualifiers. This is also the same for the number of teams to qualify in relation to the number of teams entered. In PC100, as well as the ratio of numbers of entries competing to qualify, as we've mentioned earlier, members are also able to qualify if they achieve a certain criteria known as a MER. This means minimum eligibility requirement. In this case, for the 100, if they complete a cross-country round with no jumping penalties and less than 30 time penalties, 16 penalties or under show jumping, and no more than 45 penalties in the dressage, then they will automatically qualify for the Pony Club Championship. In the Chairman's Cup and the 110 Championships, members have 2 ways of qualifying. They can either qualify at their area qualifier competition, or they can achieve results at other events, be they British Eventing or through Pony Club and Riding Club, etc. And again, the MERS are the same as for the 100 class, of which we said earlier, 1 must be in the current year, and 1 can be in this year or in a previous year. Also, for the Chairman's Cup to qualify, the member must have done a 105 competition in order to gain a MERS qualification for the Chairman's Cup, whereas at the area qualifier, they generally compete over the 100 cross-country course and a 110 show jumping course. In the Chairman's Cup and the PC 110 Championships, there are 2 competitions, one for the branches and the other for areas. All members are entered into their area squad, and then the best 3 scores are taken to provide the area team. If a member for some reason cannot attend their own qualifier, there is the feasibility now to request permission to attend another area's qualifier, as long as they have the capacity to accept your entry. Requests for this should first be given to your DC, who will then approach the area rep, who again comes to me as area chairman, as eventing chairman, to make the final decision. We've also extended this to 70 and 80s this year. Prior to this, it was only for 90s and above. However, if the 70s and 80s qualify, they must go to their own regional event if it happens to qualify for a different regional. Whilst we cannot announce tonight a Nations Cup competition will take place at the end of the season, we're very hopeful that this will go ahead. Members should note that teams will be selected based on their performance at both the Pony Club Championships in the Pony Club 100 and Chairman's Cup classes and the 110 Championships at Bishop Burton. So a big plus to go to your area and to the champs. If you want to be selected for the Nations Cup, it is only open to those who have competed at the Pony Club Championships. Right, some tips for success. Well, it might say it sounds quite straightforward, but it's amazing how many members either get stage fright at the championships or make silly errors. It is hard. One of the biggest errors is not walking the cross-country course properly. It's heartbreaking to see members having to leave a cross-country course due to an error of course or missing a fence out. At both areas and championships, members should really walk the course twice. The first time to view it as their horse views it for the first time, and then the second time to be more specific about how they will tackle each fence and the line they will take. Members should not walk the course until it is officially opened for walking, which has to be by 2 p.m. on the day before cross-country. This has been a particular problem at Off Churchbury, where members have been walking the course throughout the week prior to being officially ready and opened, and then they have not realised that changes have been made since they walked it before, or they've not noticed them because they view themselves familiar with the course. Remember also that the courses at championships will be longer and have more elements and obstacles to jump to the ones faced at area competitions, so fitness is a must. And whilst the height of the fences is set in stone and cannot be changed, remember that at championships, the technicality will be that of the height above the one you are competing at. So members should remember that they may be totally proficient at their area qualifier, but should think hard if they are ready for that level at the championships. There is no harm in doing the lower area and championship level during your first season, going up a level in BE or other Pony Club events. A lot of members also get caught out thinking the dressage tests will be the same one as they did at areas. For all classes at Off Churchbury, I can assure you it is a different test for championships. Again, there's nothing more distressing than going up the centre line and turning left only to be immediately buzzed by the judge and told you should have gone right. It throws the member into complete panic, and basically they must retire and really hope the judge will allow them to compete at the end of the class if there is time. But this is not set in stone and not an actual right. It has to be agreed by the judge and the official steward. So basically, always be prepared for your championships, making sure you're in the best shape physically for fitness, and prepared both with schooling sessions, running through your dressage test prior to going to both areas and to championships. So what to expect at the championships? And in this, we're going to cover the regional championships, the national championships, and a little bit about Bishop Beth Burton and for the 110s and the possibility of a Nations Cup. So we move on to the regional championships, and here you see a list of the 5 regional championships hosted around the country. Each venue has a certain number of areas that attend them, and members qualify at their area qualifier for the specific one their area goes to. You cannot opt for which one you wish to attend. Many of those competing at regionals often qualify in more than one class and more than one discipline over the 2 or 3 days. And so quite often this can be their first experience of staying away overnight at a competition, with their horses also being stabled on site for the first time. It is a real experience for them and something that they have not been through before, and compete against other branches other than those in their own area. The regionals also provide a huge learning curve for parents and members alike, giving wonderful preparation and experience for the future, with hopefully a trip to the main Pony Club Championships in the coming years. So the National Pony Club Championships, this is held at Off Churchbury in Warwickshire each year, and is quite simply amazing. It's a huge spectacle featuring many equestrian disciplines other than eventing, running for over a week. It is huge. It has trade stands, on-site stables, fun zones, marquees, catering outlets, camping, buggies to take you to places, and of course the famous parties. The eventing competitions within the championships are at the finale and take place on Thursday, August the 20th through to Saturday, the 22nd of August. And what a finale they provide. Seeing the Chairman's Cup members ride their dressage tests in tailcoats as the excitement builds towards the final stage of the competition with the show jumping in reverse order, it always attracts a huge crowd and is thrilling as the result changes as each member jumps. We once had somebody move up from 9th place after cross-country and dressage to win the competition. It's that close and tight, and a pole can drop you huge amounts of places down the order. Also, of course, very prominent at Off Churchbury are the thrilling cross-country courses, which test horse and rider. The fences look huge and the angles and lines almost impossible to imagine how they can be jumped. It's a huge achievement for any Pony Club member to get to the championships in eventing, and a memory that will stay with them for their lifetime. And of course, there's masses of others on the eventing days, masses of other activities going on. Very much a favourite is the musical ride, which also takes place on the final Saturday afternoon. So we just come to then our final championship, which is the Pony Club 110 Championships. And as I said, for the inaugural time, this will take place at the British Eventing Festival of Youth competition, to be hosted at Bishop Burton at the end of July and beginning of August. We're very excited about this, and the 110 will run as a 2-star short competition, following exactly the same format and running alongside the BE Under-18s National Championships. So it'll feature trot-ups, both prior to the competition taking place and before the show jumping on the final day. We're really hoping that this will attract many of our older members, and with the relocation to more central location at Bishop Burton, we're hoping to attract members from all over the country, and particularly those that perhaps are out of 18 and unders and still would like to go to a big championships, and also those sort of just out of 18 and unders that still have many friends doing the 18 and unders, so that they can join in all the fun and be part of the excitement at Bishop Burton. So lots to look forward to that. As I said, the Nations Cup, we're still waiting to confirm this. We've pretty much had the green light from BE that we can do it. So now we're just waiting for confirmation from venues before we can announce it. We're going to run a 1-star and a 2-star. And we'll be inviting teams from the 4 home nations and the Republic of Ireland. And this will be run at a prestigious international venue in the autumn months towards the end of the season. So lots of exciting things coming up within Pony Club eventing, but now to the other side of eventing, and that's organising and the volunteers. There are huge numbers of volunteers required to run a one-day event, and nearly every organiser at whatever event, be it branch, area or national, always needs more people. They can range from lorry and car parking, road crossings, stewards, collecting score sheets, dressage writers, pole pickers, ring stewards, tack checkers. An extremely enjoyable job, of course, is to be a fence judge, which on a lovely sunny day can be the most glorious day out. There are also the more technical roles which require a little bit more experience, such as the official steward, course builders, course repair, those in the start and control boxes, and the scoring departments. But please do contact Annabelle for advice regarding volunteering opportunities, or your area rep, or even your branch event organisers. They will be extremely grateful for any offer of any help. And also you'll see that on the main Pony Club website, there are French judge briefing videos for you to look at, to either refresh yourself as a fence judge or to get an idea of what is required for you to become a fence judge. So please, lots of volunteers required. I believe after the Spring Festival, the Rostify volunteering site will be open for volunteers for the Pony Club Championships. And of course, I'm sure all of you here tonight will be volunteering for the eventing discipline. So now we come on to the relationship between the Pony Club and British Eventing. As I've informed you, British Eventing are the governing body of the sport of eventing within the UK, but almost all top-class eventers started their eventing career within the Pony Club, resulting in very much the Pony Club becoming both the learning ground and the feeding ground for future talent in British eventing and eventing internationally. Whilst for many years, both organisations were very much chasing around for the same market. However, in recent years, the Pony Club and British Eventing are now working very closely together to secure the best for the sport for both organisations. Dates are checked between us to avoid clashes at major events and championships, and the fact that the BE have welcomed the PC 110 Championships at Bishop Burton as part of their Festival of Youth just shows how far we have come. Several area qualifiers are now held within BE events, and helping those areas that have very few cross-country courses within them, and also adding extra entries for the BE organisers. So it's a win-win situation. You don't have to be a member of BE to ride at an area qualifier held within a BE event. And also, we have found that there was a little bit of a clash if a BE event was hosting an area qualifier and also a BE under 18 event. Well, we've now had it confirmed by BE that if the member who is a member of both organisations competes in the Pony Club area qualifier at PC 90 or 100 or PC 80, then that result and that performance will be valid and viewed as part of the selection process for their under 18 squad, regional squad, to go to Bishop Burton. So in a nutshell, you get 2 chances at qualifying for a championships at a BE event if your area is hosting it within a BE event, that of qualifying for the Festival of Youth, and that of qualifying for the Pony Club Championships. So, British Eventing and the Pony Club now have several meetings a year together to work towards the benefit of eventing in general. BE allows Pony Club members to enter 2 BE events a year without having to become a member, and it also offers a 40% discount on membership to all new members joining BE. We're also working towards training opportunities for both members of both organisations can attend, and BE members are also welcomed to open events run by branches and areas that offer open classes. So lots to look forward to, and a very much new relationship between BE and the Pony Club to further all our members' opportunities. You know, you can do Bishop Burton and Off Churchbury. There's a 2-week gap between them. We now can do the PC 110 championships as opposed to Wellington clashing with Blair. So we really are very much planning the future with BE in a collaboration for the Pony Club and BE both to move forward in a successful way. So that basically gives you a very general idea of eventing within the Pony Club, the classes available, the opportunities available, the qualifying system, and the various championships. And we now move on to some questions that have come up during the presentation. So Annabelle, I wonder if you would like to.
Yeah, that's fine. We've got 2 questions from Emma Walsh, both about the 110 at Bishop Burton. So will the 110 be a separate class or mixed in with the youth 2-star?
It will run as a separate class, but will be running alongside. So a little bit like it will be run as a section, as the timings and you know, the dressage test. You'll have your own dressage arena. It will run as one section, but will run alongside. But it is a separate class.
And second question about Bishop Burton is about the stabling. As it is running with the 2-star and under FEI rules, will the PC 110 be required to have the FEI app to do temperature checks and also be 6 monthly vaccinated compliant?
No, because Bishop Burton, the Festival of Youth, also runs national classes. There'll be no requirement for FEI passports or FEI inoculations to compete in the 110 championships. As I say, they run a number of national classes there, and they satisfy FEI rules, how they run that. And the Pony Club 110 championships will fit into that without the need for FEI regulations.
Question from Sarah Crane. Given your comments about the challenges presented by the championship course, I don't really understand why the qualification criteria for the PC 100 is so low. Isn't it setting people up to fail at the championships?
We have this, you know, in the last year or two, we now require a TA to visit every course, and we have very much, since Sarah Verney around the country, really trying to beef up these courses at an area level. It's a little bit of a problem because the Pony Club area and championships require a much higher level of technicality than what is required at the same level at BE. And of course, all the TAs are BE TAs and are slightly reluctant to be that bold. But as I say, we are really trying very hard to beef up the courses so that it is a test that they will be prepared for the championships. And of course, they do have to jump clear cross country around the 100 on the MERS to qualify. It's not they can't go with 20 penalties.
Another question from Erin Wittich. Could a member get reasonable adjustment to have their test called?
Yeah, reasonable adjustment. As you know, the Pony Club again also has made great strides forward in reasonable adjustment across the board, not just in eventing. Yes, reasonable adjustment forms should be sent into the office to Eventing at PC UK. It is then passed to the chairman or the committee to assess them. It is getting quite usual, you know, that dressage tests can be written. I think you generally put in is it ECHN? Form. I'm sure those who know that the school's doing things. Hopefully we will get a system on Pelham and horse events and entry master and things that once that reasonable adjustment is logged, it will save members and their parents from having to apply for it at each competition. It seems to work very well for areas with entry master in particular, but it didn't work so well for championships. But as I say, the technical department at the Pony Club is working on trying to get these reasonable adjustments logged on members' portals and under their membership numbers so that they flag up each time and the member doesn't have to apply for reasonable adjustment at every competition for the Pony Club.
That's all our questions.
Lovely. Well, that brings us to the conclusion of this webinar. As I say, the areas generally start around May time and really pick up in June and then in July. And then we move on to the championships in August and into both Bishop Burton and Off Churchbury, and then culminating with the regionals at the end of August, at the end of the summer. So sit tight. Hopefully we'll have some news on a very exciting Nations Cup and also the 100 team event, which will see BE and PC members. We haven't worked out yet whether we'll put them against each other or mix them in a team together. So that's details to come out on that from BE very shortly. But thank you for your attending, and I wish you every success for the coming year.
Thank you for coming, everyone. Throughout the year, you'll definitely see more sports webinar Wednesdays also occurring. So do keep an eye on the PC UK newsletter and on our socials for our next event. Thank you, Patrick and Annabelle, for presenting this evening. Have a good evening, everyone. Good night.